All right, CNT120, Chapter 3 Lab. We're now on to application layer domain names. So we're going to try some communication with domain names in our network. And if things are working right, our DNS server should be working right, resolving things for us. If not, maybe there's an issue. So on our Harrisburg PC, I'm going to go over here to open our Harrisburg PC. I'm going to open up a command prompt over here, and I'm going to try to ping the web server by the name, ping HTTP server. So I'm going to open the command prompt, I'm going to try ping HTTP server and give it a try. I might want to speed up my time. There's an option over here where I can actually speed that up a little bit. I can hit the forward button and speed up my results. And what I see is could not find HTTP server. Okay, let's try to ping the address, the IP address of. So let's try a ping of 192.168.30.4, and I get a response there. So it didn't respond to the name, but it did respond to the IP. Okay, let's try our web browser. Let's see if we get any different result here. So it's in our web browser. We're going to try to browse to www.cnt.org and see what we get. So www.cnt.org. I'm going to give that a try. Again, I might need to speed up my time here. Click that a couple times. And I get a hostname unresolved. Well, let's plug in the address of the web server. And the web page loads right up. So we're seeing the name not resolving, but we're getting there by IP. So let's try a command prompt again at the Harrisburg PC, and let's try NS lookup, one of the commands we read about. This actually does a DNS query, NS lookup from my Harrisburg PC, and we're going to do it to www.cnt.org. www.cnt.org. And again, I might need to speed up my time here a little bit. I'll click the fast forward button a time or two. Come back, and I keep seeing timeout. DNS, the DNS query, I got to the server, so to speak, but then it did not give me any response back. It timed out. Well, let's try the Philadelphia side, because maybe if there's a problem over here, there might not be a problem over here. So we're going to try basically the same steps over here at the Philadelphia side. We're going to do a ping HTTP server, give it a whirl. Again, I'm just going to speed up the time. I hit that about 2 or 3 times. That just speeds up time. Can't resolve. Ping 192.168.30.4. I get a reply. Okay. Let's try the browser thing. We're going to try the web browser here. We'll try to open cnt.org. You can do a browser. You can do a browser. I know you can. www.cnt.org. I'll speed up my time here a little bit, give it about 2 or 3 clicks. Hostname unresolved, but I'll plug in 192.168.30.4, and I get the website right away. Let's try NS lookup. NS lookup, www.cnt.org. Again, I'll hit the fast forward button here a couple times. That should speed up my results, and I'm getting a timeout. So anytime we're trying to communicate with the web server by IP, there's no problem. Anytime I try to communicate by name, whether it be the actual name of the device over here, HTTP server, or the website name, I'm not getting results. Well, what that should point to is there's an issue with the DNS server. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the DNS server, open that up, and I'm going to go to the Services tab. Again, these would be all different port numbers of services running on this server. So just think back to your port numbers. If I wanted this service, I need to use that port number. If I want this service, I need that port number, etc. Well, we want DNS, so I'm going to highlight that, and I'll see my DNS service is off. I'll see there's all kinds of records here for names. Even CNT.org, there's a record. There's an A record. There's no quad A record, but there's an A record. I'm going to turn this service on that hopefully it'll start responding to when somebody uses that name, responding with the appropriate IP address. So I'll close that out. And now let's try, over here from the Harrisburg PC, let's try pinging the web server again. Let's try pinging. So let's do a ping, HTTP server. Oh my goodness. That resolved, and it resolved the name and pinged the name. Yay! Let's try going to the browser now. And let's try opening up the website CNT.org. You can do it, little browser. www.cnt.org. And the website opens up by name now. Yes, our DNS server is actually responding to these requests, giving you the IP so you can load that entity, load that resource. And now let's try our command prompt one more time here. Let's try the NS lookup for www.cnt.org. And I do actually get a response right back from that. So letting me know that DNS server is actually running and responding to requests. Let's try the exact same thing on the Philadelphia side over here. Let's try all these on the Philadelphia side as well. So we'll do a ping here. Ping HTTP server. I'm getting a response. Excellent. Let's browse to it. We should be generating some traffic as well too, which is good. Come on, web server, you can do it. Web browser, I mean. www.cnt.org. Excellent. Web page opens right up. And if I go back to my command prompt, ns lookup www.cnt.org. There we go. So our DNS server is responding now, responding with the appropriate IP for that name, whether it be the actual name of the host name of the device or the domain name. It's responding and giving us that information. Now, we want to copy our NS lookup results from, I don't think we need it from the Harrisburg, but we just need it at least from the Philadelphia PC, or I think it's the last one we looked at. So here on the Philadelphia PC, I'm going to open up my command prompt again. And we want these NS lookup results right here. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go to my text file here. I'll come down the bottom down here and I'll say layer 7 domain name. And this was my NS lookup command results. And I'll paste that in and save that. So I know that my DNS server is up and running and responding to. When I said cnt.org, www.cnt.org, it responded with the address of that server. Okay, so I have those right there. I have that right there so I don't forget. Let's now take a peek at the DNS traffic capture by the packet sniffer. So let's open the laptop and we're going to browse to the web server. Now, if it'll help, sometimes this helps people. I'm going to go into the sniffer now. Sometimes this is helpful. If I just do a clear here, that clears all my previous packets captured. And now what I capture is only the stuff that I generated right here, right now. Sometimes that's helpful for people to see. So I'm going to open up the laptop and I'm going to browse to the cnt.org. So let's go in here. Helps if I open the web browser there, Mr. Brown. I'm opening the web browser and I'm going to browse to that cnt.org. So this should generate all new clean traffic in our sniffer for us. www.cnt.org. It loaded that web page. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go to my sniffer. And when I go to the GUI tab now, this should just be this this data transfer that we just did. That's all I'm seeing there. So what we want to look at, oops, I clicked out of that here. Let me scroll back down. Here we go. Okay. So here's our Philadelphia laptop we just loaded. We now should see DNS, TCP, and HTTP. We do. There's the DNS entries to resolve that name into an IP. Here's the TCP port numbers to start communicating with the web server. There's the website data, and then TCP closing it back down. So we want to take a look at the following. We should see DNS, TCP, HTTP, which we just did. I'm going to highlight one of the DNS messages over here on the left. So I'll just do the first one. And we want to look at the source and destination IP. So here's our Ethernet header again. Here's our IP. Source is 3177, the laptop. The destination is 30.2, the DNS server, 30.2. Okay, so now let's look at, in the next area, the UDP header, because UDP is now getting used. DNS is it needs to be a quick response, so UDP gets used for that quick send it and retrieve response. So the source port 1025 was coming from my browser. Again, yours might be 1026, 1027, that's fine. Theirs coming from my browser, and it's going to 53, the DNS server. If by chance your port numbers are flip-flop, maybe just click the next DNS in line, and you'll see, as I do here, you'll see these here's the source port 1025, 53, and I might see these flip-flop. There's the flip-flop, yeah. So if you click maybe the next one in line, you should see those flip-flops. So I'm going to go back to my first one here, because this is the direction I want to see, coming from my laptop to the DNS server. Here's the source port 1025 coming from my browser, destination going to 53, the DNS server. That's what I want to see. So let's gather this right here, the contents of UDP header source port field. So I'm going to come over here to my text file. And this was my DNS packet data. Source port field, and then I need the destination. UDP header destination port field. So here is the source port field. UDP header source port field right there. So we're going to plug that in. This is coming from my browser, so 1025. And the destination is going to DNS server 53. 53 is the port for DNS. So I'm going to save that. So now this is actually the DNS traffic moving back and forth. Now that we have our DNS server up and running, this is actually responding to these requests and giving out those IP addresses so that web pages and things can get loaded. All right, the only thing left to do is just double check your text file and make sure you have all your pieces here. That's why I was labeling as I went. Just scroll down through and make sure you have all these pieces, and then make sure this is saved. Might want to save your packet tracer file. Now it's done. I don't need this submitted. I just want to make sure that your text file gets saved and submitted to D2L. And there is the end of your Chapter 3 lab.